These are times referees ruin poker. And first, you're about to witness one of the most expensive dealer mistakes ever. We're at the World Series of Poker main event with just 11 players left and a whopping $10 million on the line. Every chip and every decision counts. Dario Sammartino races it up with pocket tens, and Nick Marchington jams all in with pocket queens. Dario asks for the chip count, and the dealer says he needs 17 million to call. He puts the chips forward as if he's making the call, but then the dealer miscounted the stack.
Just knowing that Marchington has the ability to get out of line would be enough for me to make this call.
17-2?
17-2.
Call.
We have a different
more
number.
than that.
We've got a different number.
10, 15, 17.
No, that's the stack of 10. It's like 22-2. 20. I would call it.
Did Dario say call?
Yes.
Right? That's 10,000.
Dario actually needed 22 million to call.
Brian, I miscounted the stack and announced the wrong amount. He asked for a count and I announced the wrong amount by 5 million.
The dealer announced it was 17-2, but it was really 22-2, which I pointed out. And now the floors are being called over.
Well,
Dario called the 17.
we put in the stack of chips.
How much was?
Ended up
And she
calling.
says 17. Okay, and I call. But if she said the right things, probably I don't know if I call.
Very unfortunate.
I put the chips right like this because she said 17. But
He's
she,
going to double
she
up.
was wrong.
He's against 10s. Well, shouldn't jinx you, but it's 8-7-4.
It's not fair. It's not my fault. Eh?
There's no at fault here.
Yeah, but it's not my fault. She make a mistake.
It'll be accepted action.
I agree with him. I mean,
Come on.
yeah.
But how is possible? It's no sense. Because I call 20 bigs, but I can't call 30 bigs. Of course. I have to think probably I can fold this end. I don't know if I fold. I wanna be honest. Okay. Sometimes I fold, sometimes I call. But this is not fair, guys.
The tournament staff step in, and despite Dario's protests, the ruling stands. The call is binding for the full 22 million. The floor sides with the dealer, stating it's the player's responsibility to watch out for the chip count, even if the dealer announces the wrong number. The situation escalates, and the vice president of the WSOP, Jack Effel, steps up to make a ruling.
The hands are out, the chips are in play, the action is going to stand as it is. It's an accepted action. It's very clear in the rules. There's no change in this decision. This is a very simple decision. So we're going to make the bet right for what the bet needs to be.
Jack kills Dario's pleas, and a jack on the river kills Dario's hopes as Marchington's pocket queens hold up. You've gotta feel bad for the dealer here. She did make a mistake, but the WSOP rulebook clearly states what happens in similar situations. But what do you guys think? Was Dario right to argue, or should he have just taken the L? But if you thought that was a tough watch, just wait until you see what happens next. Now, we're about to witness vintage Daniel Negreanu making an amazing soul read. But that's not the craziest thing that happens in this hand. Negreanu makes a great call on the turn with pocket kings, but Chris Oliver decides to put him to the test by firing another shell on the river. Not a bad bluff, but then Oliver makes a big mistake.
Man, that was quick. I took like 35, 40 seconds.
51.
I don't even think I took 45 seconds. I'd like to actually ask the floor if that's legal. Because part of it has to be an unreasonable amount of time. Huh?
Go on 51.
Well, that's fine. Don't worry. I'm going to be done in a minute anyway. But that was less than a minute. It's all right.
That was weak sauce, bro.
The officials didn't necessarily ruin this hand, but it would have been fun to watch Oliver squirm for another minute or two. Daniel handled it like a gentleman. Could you imagine what would happen if you called the clock on Phil Hellmuth after 5 seconds? Speaking of which, in this next hand, Hellmuth takes his sweet time making a decision against an amateur player, and Tony G is having none of it. Tony decides to object in typical Tony G fashion, which predictably gets Phil's blood boiling.
Now I'm trying to make a decision for 43,000. Can you just shut the up? Call
Are you a
floor
professional
man.
player?
Call floor man.
You're insulting everyone.
Do you think Phil will handle the situation gracefully?
Personally, I'm enjoying
I'm right in the middle of making a big decision right now, and he's completely out of line here. So I
think he's completely out of line because he's been taking forever to make a decision. Against an amateur player coming in here as the best player in the world, taking 15 minutes to make a decision.
I haven't taken 15 minutes. You want to bet on that?
Well, you will.
You're so out of line. You know, your etiquette's horrible. Stay out of this.
Gentlemen,
stay out.
Okay.
The floor is called, and they put Phil on the clock, and he's obviously not too happy about the ruling. He ends up folding the best hand, but you can't help but think if he'd had just a little more time, would he have talked himself into a call? And more importantly, would we have gotten another iconic Helmuth blow-up? Next hand might be the most outrageous dealer mistake ever caught on camera. We're at the World Series of Poker, and Estelle Dennis just went all in pre-flop. And just look at what happens next.
Norman, it appears the dealer just pulled her cards into the muck.
Oh, wow.
Did you protect your cards? I don't know.
I'm all in.
Okay, well, I switched in your cards.
Stop right here. Don't do anything for right now.
Huh?
Don't do anything just now.
Okay,
Are those her two cards on top of that pile? Don't touch them. I just said don't do anything.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Tell me what they were.
Get your hand away from them,
Okay.
please.
I give you my card.
I'm going to get somebody over
This is
here.
unusual. Denis went all in. The dealer, though, killed her hand, putting her cards into the muck. I think her hand might be dead.
JC and everyone certainly feels for her, but there's nothing they can do.
The dealer calls for assistance, but there's no way to retrieve the cards without risking the integrity of the hand.
Yeah, you guess you can tell.
Your hand is dead because those cards.
Her hand is dead.
Okay, am I finished the hand?
That is unfortunate. It is ugly for Estelle Denny, but it's by the book.
Yeah, you finish with the hand. You get these chips back, but those are.
Denis will have to
hands
forfeit the $32,000 that called JC's bet, but will get $110,000 back that she raised all in. Her table mates can only watch in bewilderment.
It's a joke.
Estelle taking it better than most would.
I had two aces.
In this next hand, though, we can't only blame the dealer, since even the players involved in the pot totally misread the board. We've never seen such a big oversight in high-stakes tournament events before. There are 5 players remaining in the €1,700 buy-in tournament, and they're competing for the top prize of €182,150. Pierre Cowart is on the dealer button with Jack-10 offsuit and moves all in. Lupo's on the big blind and makes the call with King-Jack offsuit, dominating Cowart's hand. We see the following board run out: Ace, Queen, 6, Jack, 6. At a first glance, it looks like Lupo's King-Jack held up, but in reality, this is a chopped pot. Both players made the two-pair combination, jacks and 6s, with the ace kicker. Since the players share the community cards, Lupo's king is irrelevant, and players should split the pot. However, this totally goes over everyone's head. Even the commentators didn't realize, and Cowart gracefully makes his exit, apparently satisfied with his €48,000 cash out. By the time everyone realized the mistake, it was already too late. Again, when a mistake like this happens, it's primarily the player's responsibility to speak out. Also, it's important to catch the mistake in time, because it can only be disputed until the next hand is dealt. In this next hand, we have another example of a collective lapse in judgment. This hand took place in the WSOP Circuit main event in Baltimore, and we're down to 3 players in the tournament. Divyam Satyarthi is in the small blind, and he goes all in with Queen-10 offsuit. Maurice Hawkins calls from the big blind with Ace-3 offsuit. Watch closely how the board runs out here. The river is a 5 of clubs, which gives Maurice the straight, and he's awarded the pot. Nobody noticed that Satyarthi actually made a flush on the river, since he held a club in his hand. The dealer quickly mucks the winning hand, and yet again, by the time the mistake was discovered, it was already too late. This was sloppy work from the dealer for sure, but again, I think it's up to the players to be extra vigilant in spots like these, especially if your whole tournament life's on the line. Our next hand features the poker legend Scotty Wynn in a deep tournament run at the 2006 World Poker Tour. Scotty has pocket 4s in the small blind and makes the call. Michael Mizrahi checks behind with 6-5 offsuit. Scotty makes a great call on the flop and spikes a set on the turn.
Well, Scotty checked.
What do you want me to do?
You know what you're gonna do. You're gonna check it.
He wants me to check. Give him a check.
The table talk has started.
See? I know, baby.
Oh, man! The grinder has made the nuts. He's got us straight here.
Mizrahi rivers the nuts straight and goes for a raise. At this point, Scotty still believes his hand is best, and he's pondering a re-raise. In a very confusing turn of events, the official makes the decision to consider Scotty's action a call instead of a raise, saving him a bunch of chips in the process.
Should have raised you, but...
These are the two chip leaders going at it here.
I raise.
Scotty Wynn making the call here. He's going to raise.
Scotty makes the call for 170.
And Mizrahi's turning up his cards.
Said raise.
Scotty said raise.
Yep.
He said I raise.
Look at this.
Put his chips out there.
I thought he said call.
The grinder turned his cards face up. Scotty saw the straight, he saw his beat. Now the tournament directors are making a ruling here, Vince.
Yeah.
Chips were still in his hand. He said I raise you.
Okay. What happened? Did anyone show any cards or anything?
Yeah.
Well, Scotty has every opportunity to raise. He can do whatever he wants to do at this point because he announced that he was going to raise. It's also up to the player's responsibility to know the action that goes on and what happens. I was over at the rail over there and I heard Scotty announce raise also. So.
I say raise and he turned over 5.
We're gonna go with the lesser action in a case like this then. Now that we have all the information, it would only be a call.
Scotty ended up winning the event and raking in almost $1 million. His runner-up, none other than Michael Mizrahi himself. In the last hand of the event, Scotty shows great sportsmanship by praising Mizrahi for his outstanding play.
Wait a minute, Scotty's taking the microphone.
You know, it don't matter what the last card is. You know, this man right here, I have to give him credit. You know, this young man right here, he can play. The last couple of years, he showed the world. He can come out and play some poker and do it with a big boy.
In our first hand, Antonio Esfandiari is dealt 7 deuce, and the dealer mistakenly deals out the flop before Antonio has a chance to act.
Exactly.
Well, you snooze, you lose.
I never looked at my hand.
Up.
Well, look now. I mean, whatever.
What are we going to do
I
here?
haven't looked at my hand yet.
Wow.
Might be time for a ruling. Here we go.
There it goes.
There's no action on the flop.
Nope, not yet.
Action's on Antonio in the event that. So we're back to.
In the event that we go to the flop, that'll get reshuffled in with the remainder.
Okay.
So there will be a new flop.
Fortunately for the dealer, the floor makes an unorthodox decision to just deal out a new flop after Antonio decides what to do with his hand. Unlike a certain Tony G, I actually believe Antonio didn't look at his hand, so he's not angle shooting the rest of the table.
Saying you didn't look.
Yeah, you wouldn't lie, Tony, would you? I wouldn't lie. You can check my hand if you want. You can tell him the truth.
You didn't look at either card.
I haven't looked.
You promise?
Ask Joe. I mean, I haven't looked.
I can't say anything, but
I'm not gonna look.
Right. Phil ships and Tony calls.
All right, you're close. You're up there.
Oh, you lied.
Of course I lied. It's poker, Phil. What do you think this is?
Just look at how Antonio decides to take advantage among all the confusion. Surprisingly, Antonio decides to spice it up by making a big raise.
That's not the flop, Robert. Just so you know. This is pre-flop.
Oh, yeah, he's taking that
This
away.
is pre-flop.
So it's 12,000?
9. It's nice to know that you're going to call more.
All of a sudden it comes to life.
It's a real pot.
Let's make it a real pot.
Now we get
boys.
that back, right, or no? So we get rebated 2,000 each or something?
No.
No.
Very carefully.
Wait, did I get my change? I got my correct change. Yes.
Wait, what happened to
So
the
I
other
put
chips
25
from
in.
the other pot? We're in for 11 now?
Right, yeah.
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 Oh, because it was a straddle. Yeah.
Oh.
And then I get a new hand.
Uh-huh.
There's all kinds of things going on.
Right. How much did you
I just
make,
want to
Antonio?
9-1.
9 more.
Yeah.
9 more on top of the thing.
Correct.
Okay.
The new flop is great for Antonio's range, so he throws in a half-pot continuation bet.
Got a pair.
Generally, when they say they have a pair and start shuffling their cards midair, and the snap back and forth, he's out.
You see that?
So
I like
7
that.
deuces, but it can't be 7 deuces.
It's not 7 deuce.
No, it's not
It's
7
just
deuces.
weird.
You want to buy out for
Antonio.
200?
Nope.
100?
Nope.
1,000.
Wow.
Oh, you
Shit!
I think Antonio was more happy about winning with 7 deuce than the actual money itself. But if you think that was impressive, you haven't seen anything yet. In this video right here, a 21-year-old outplays the poker pros to take home the World Poker Tour title, $2.1 million, and pull off one of the most incredible underdog victories in poker history. So click right here if you want to see the full story. We'll see you there.